Hi SILEM stars, you're welcome back to my channel. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Okay, it's absolutely free and it helps the channel grow. In today's video guys, I'm going to teach you how to sew an armhole princess that bustier from start to finish. In my last video, I taught you how to draft an armhole princess that bustier. So if you haven't seen that video, I'm going to leave the link in the pinned comment and also in the description box as well. So do check it out. So without further ado, let's learn how to sew an armhole princess that bustier.
Oh, hey, I didn't see you there.
So this is my piece. I went ahead to use my pattern piece to cut on my fabric, and I left ½ inches around. Okay, so just go ahead and use the pattern pieces that you drafted, use it to cut on your fabric with ½ inch seam allowance around. So I'm using a doll face satin as my main fabric, and I'm using a cotton lining as my lining. Okay, so now I've gone ahead to already pad my piece. I have a detailed tutorial on how to pad a princess that bustier, so you can check it out. So I went ahead to use this foam pad, and then I just sewed it because it's not fusible. I sewed it on the pieces. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do now is, these are my side pieces like I'm showing you, and then this is my center front piece. Now I'm just going to go ahead and just measure to be sure that what I have is enough. Now what you have here should be your bust span plus 1 inch, because you're going to be sewing with ½ inch seam allowance on both sides. So once you're done sewing, you're going to get your actual bust span measurements. Okay, so now once you have that and you're sure of that, go ahead and place one of your side pieces on top of your center piece, and then just go ahead and sew it. Now the piece on top is the one you should move. As you can see now, my side front piece is on top of my center front piece, so that's why I'm moving my side front piece to conform to the way my center front piece is. I hope that makes sense guys. Okay, so just go ahead and just sew it all the way from the bottom all the way to the top. It's advisable to start from the bottom to the top because it's much easier to do it that way. So once I'm done, this is what I have. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for the other side as well. I'm also going to join the other side front piece with the center front piece. sorry guys. Now for this other side, you want to go ahead and sew all the way till you get to the under bust point there, and once you get to that point, you want to use your fingers to just align the rest of the piece. You want to align the side front piece to be or to conform to the center front piece. I hope that makes sense. And then once you see where it starts at the top, start from that point and sew downwards. Now this is for the right side front piece and not the left side front piece. The left side front piece is the one I joined first, and that one is much easier to just sew directly from the bottom all the way to the top. But for the right side front piece, it gets tricky sewing from the bottom all the way to the top, and that's why I did it that way. Okay, so that's a trick there for beginners. Now once we're done with the front piece, we're moving on to the back piece. Okay, now the back pieces, I'm just taking one of the side back pieces, and then I'm placing it on top I'm placing it on top one of the side back pieces. Guys, I'm just stammering. Sorry. And then I'm just going to go ahead and just sew it. Now the same way, you want the one on top, you want to move the one on top to make it conform to the one at the bottom. So in this case, the center front was actually at the top, so I just moved it to conform to the way the side front was. So I did that for this other back piece as well, and this is what we have. Now back to my front piece, you want to go ahead and trim out any excess you have around that armhole area. It's fine if you have an excess on the side front and not on the center front. Okay, so now if you're making a tube princess that you want to sew all the way and close all the way at the top there, but if you're making an off shoulder, you want to just close only the neck and then leave the armholes open. Now because I'm making a tube princess that bustier, I'm going to go ahead and close all the way. So like I said, for a tube princess that bustier, you want to close everything at the top, both the neck and the armhole. But for an off shoulder princess that bustier, you want to close only the neck and leave the armhole open, so you can obviously attach your sleeves later. Okay, so just go ahead and sew it with about 1/4 inch seam allowance. You don't really need to use ½ inch seam allowance because that might be too much. So 1/4 inch seam allowance works great. So just go ahead and sew it all the way from the beginning to the end, depending on which one you are doing, whether it's a tube or an off shoulder princess that bustier. So you can see that this drafting pattern and sewing pattern actually works for both a tube bustier and an off-shoulder bustier as well. So now once you're done, you want to go ahead and just create tiny notches all along the allowance, okay? Especially right there at the center where we have that sweater neckline. Just go ahead and create tiny notches all along. This would help the piece to relax when you iron it, okay? Now you want to go ahead and open it up. Now make sure that your allowance is facing the lining side, and then go ahead and top stitch, okay? Now this top stitching as well will also help your neckline and that armhole area to relax, so that it's very nice and neat when you are ironing it, okay? So it's very important you create those notches on the allowance and also top stitch with the allowance facing the lining side. Now once you're done, this is what you're going to have. Now you want to go ahead and turn this back to the wrong side, and then we're going to go ahead and close the sides, okay? We'll go ahead and close the sides now. So after closing it, this is what you're going to have. Now you want to go ahead and turn this to the right side. So on the right side, this is what it looks like. Can you see how lovely it looks? I haven't even ironed it, but it looks very neat. Please subscribe, guys, if you haven't already, and hit the like button if you like and you enjoyed the video so far. This is what the back looks like as well. And now that we're done with that, we're going to move on to the back piece. Now we're taking our lining and our fabric, and then we're going to go ahead and just close both the armhole and the neck. Like I said, if you are doing an off shoulder, try to close only the neck and leave the armhole open. Now the same thing I did for my fabric, the way I joined the center back and the side back is the same way I joined it for my lining, okay? That's why I didn't bother showing it again, but just go ahead and do the same thing for your lining before you do this particular step. And once you're done, also go ahead and create those notches on the allowance, and then make sure that your allowance is now facing your lining. Turn it to the right side, and then go ahead and top stitch just like you did for the front piece. And when you're done with that, you want to go ahead and close this back to make sure that you're looking at the wrong side, and then go ahead and close the sides as well. Now when you turn it to the right side, this is what you're going to have. Now go ahead and do this for the other back piece as well. And then when you're done with that, you want to go ahead and join them at the center there for your zipper, and then also join it to your front piece. And that's basically how to make or how to sew an armhole princess that bustier. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. So this is what the dress looks like, okay? So it has this peplon that extends to the side seam there. So I decided to put structured sleeves on this princess that bustier. So that's what I'm doing right here. The first one I wanted it to just stand a bit, and then the second one I wanted it to just go all the way to the back, and that is why I made this a tube princess that bustier, because the sleeve I was attaching to it did not need to be like sewn to the armhole or anything like that, okay? And this is the finished look, guys. This is what the dress looked like when I was done. I'm also going to show you guys what the dress looks like on my lovely clients. Now these two ladies here are my clients. I made both dresses, but the lady on the left is wearing the dress I made for this video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.